This is episode number 356 of the InnerFight podcast. We are talking pre- and postnatal fitness with our very own Mia Akerlund. No matter where you are in the world, folks, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. That's right, we are going to talk all about pre- and post-natal fitness, what you ladies should be doing, what maybe you shouldn't be doing, and how to get, I think the biggest thing, your body back. Big shout out to our show sponsors, Smith Street Paleo. Thank them for everything they do. Let's jump into today's show. Now you can put your microphones on, and now we can... Woo!
Hello?
That one's super loud, but that's okay. It makes it a lot more real when you start shouting when I'm trying to do an introduction and pretending that we're really serious. Mia.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show.
It's been too long.
It's been long. It's by popular demand, but we've had to find a good topic, and we found one.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Let's start from the start. That's probably the best place to start.
Very logic.
Let's start from the start in that, if I'm not wrong, in InnerFight anyway, it might have been different in your previous gym. About 18 months ago, you had a client who was coming back from having a baby.
Yes, that's correct.
What was your... Is that the first person that you've trained? Do you train any people back in Sweden?
Well, it's the first time I do personal training with someone's coming back because I actually didn't do any personal training before I got here.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of classes back in Sweden with people coming like straight after birth. They come and they bring the babies and like the babies were from a few months to maybe 2 years old and they just had them. So it was very different.
So it's almost like a CrossFit play group for mummies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whereas this time, it was like someone's coming to you and they wanted to... I guess, is that the biggest thing? I'm sort of putting thoughts into my own head, but when you've had a baby, you want to get your body back.
Yeah, I would say you want to get your body back, but also make sure that you're ready for whatever it is, like to have a baby.
Yeah.
Like a simple thing that you might not think about, just carrying your baby is quite demanding.
Yeah.
Like one session, the baby was crying for 40 minutes and I was carrying him and my biceps was in cramp.
Really?
It's not easy to hold static hold of the baby in your arm for an hour. And like breastfeeding, like they sit and breastfeed, the position is not the best. Like it's very hard for your back and your shoulders. So it's a lot. But of course to get your body back because gaining weight happen when you have a baby.
When you have it, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. I mean, let's dial back to how much a baby weighs. A baby's anywhere sort of 2 kilos, 3 kilos, 4 kilos, 5 kilos, like it could, and that's when they're born, huh?
Yeah.
And then you sort of a little bit after, and I guess especially if you've had a baby by a cesarean section, actually to pick them up and to be twisting is a massive challenge. So let's go through a scenario. Somebody walks in. We obviously want them to be cleared by their doctor and whatever. Yep. How do you typically? What's the starting point for one of these ladies?
Postnatal.
Postnatal.
Yep.
We'll go to prenatal later. We should have done prenatal, but let's do
whatever.
Whatever. Who
Go
cares?
straight.
We'll start from the end.
Let's start from, that's how the story went. So where does it start?
Well, it all depends on what they've done before.
Right.
Like, if it's someone that I never met before and I have no idea what they've done, I start to ask a background. Like, what did you do before you got pregnant? How long could you train while you were pregnant? Did you train at all?
Yeah.
Like, because that's very different. It's going to change a lot what we can do now.
Yeah, right.
Let's say you could train all the way until the day before you gave birth, then you're pretty prepared and you can come back faster. But some people get a lot of issues and then can't really train proper a few months into the pregnancy.
Right.
So that's the first question we need to figure out.
Yeah.
And then I start asking just like basic question like what kind of because it's certain exercises you should do straight after, like for your pelvic, like squeezing exercises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, did their abs separated during the pregnancy?
That's one of the biggest things, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know all about that, Dre.
I know.
Yeah. Where's your research? Even I know that.
Seriously, I know about that stuff.
Okay, cool. Then we'll carry on.
So those kind of things is the first I ask. Like, what have you done already? Have you done any of these exercises by yourself? And if they say yes or if they say no, I always start testing it.
Right.
Like just easy stuff. Like just
you never know.
Just like pushing, keeping your back on the floor while lying, just keeping your legs up. Like some can't even go like past 90 degrees with the knees because it's too much for the core.
Wow.
So we just test a lot of that and then just like balances.
Really?
Like, because it's a lot from your glutes, your hip, your core that needs to be
so really
working.
Drilling into the most, with no
Essential.
disrespect, the most essential, the most basic core movements that there are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because, as we said, depending on how the pregnancy were and have they done C-section or not as well, because if they C-section, the recovery is a lot harder.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it wasn't natural, so the body can't really recover as fast.
Yeah.
So just start at full basic to see what they can and what they can't do.
Yeah.
Because the last thing we want to do is to rush it.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
How does that sort of situation play itself out? Because it's a
How
balance.
does it close?
It's a bit. Well, is it?
Yeah.
How does it close? But it's a big balance, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I've had enough. I can't imagine what it'd be like. But you've had this thing growing inside you. It's completely made you, like, we constantly want our bodies to look great, and it's made your body look nicely pregnant, but whatever. And now you want it back, and now you want everything, and blah blah blah. So what's the fine line, and how do you manage it? This one, relax.
Just relax your hand a bit.
So how does it go?
Well, it's the same here. Like, you can't just say it's like this for every woman that get pregnant, because it's so different.
Yeah.
Like, we see some girls, they train until the same day they give birth.
True. Yeah.
And then they can probably come back faster.
Yeah.
Like, some girls, they can already start doing some, like, floor exercises, like the pelvic, like the squeeze exercise and stuff, already 2 weeks after.
Really? That soon?
Yeah, but
holy shimoses.
some, they recommend to not go back to training before you got the clearance from your doctor, and that's 6 weeks after your pregnancy.
Right.
So, like, more common, I would say maybe 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
When they can start doing training.
Right.
But then there's still a lot of things we need to be really careful with.
Yeah.
Like twisting exercises for the torso, of course, because of the abs again.
Yeah.
Like jumping.
Yeah.
Heavy weights.
Wow.
All of that. Like some, like proper crunching, like just a proper sit-up we should avoid as well, because we don't want to do too much crunching.
Wow.
More just like static holds.
So basically just stay away from too crazy core exercises and just work on like the simplest stuff.
Yeah.
What would be drills for balance, you said? Like
I just do, like, can you stand on one leg, close your eyes, stand on a very good one to, like, engage your core as well. Do you want me to show you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically just
take 3 tennis ball, juggle, close both eyes.
No, just something as simple as you stand on one leg, then you want to try to lean back and you get lifted up a bit higher. See, I'm already falling.
Can you do this?
And then you go the same this way, just get the leg up a bit, and you just get him to move like this, back
Lean
and
back
forward.
and forth.
You should definitely watch the video version.
Because
that's very useful. I actually don't think I could do that.
Because then you work your balance and your core at the same time, and just finding again your muscles to use.
Yeah, right.
Like how to engage your core and how to feel the balance, because a lot of that can just be a bit out from your muscle memory as well, from being off from training quite long.
I guess also, like, they can't really use their abs the same way as they're pregnant, because they're just split apart.
Exactly,
or
especially
so
if they
much.
have a big split, then they don't work anymore.
Yeah. What about, like, lower back? I would think that if you've been carrying around a baby for, like, how long time it takes to make a baby, your back must be sort of overloaded, or at least loaded with some external weight that you're not used to having. Yeah,
so a lot of what we do as well, like, except from the core, we work the same amount of, like, the backside of your upper body as well. Like the upper back for holding the baby and breastfeeding, because we see a lot of coming in after been breastfeeding for long, they just like this. They can't keep the shoulders back, and they, like, get neck pain and stiff neck, because they're just sitting like this, holding and breastfeeding a baby the whole time.
Yeah.
So we want to get them strong.
Sounds like the worst experience of my life. I'm not surprised when the chicks come around and they say, "Yeah, I've had one." That is it. Like, all of this shit. You lose your body for 9 months, and then you even get a bad neck and, like, bad shoulders.
So we want to do, like, a lot of to strengthen that up. Like, I just do basic, like, gymnastics, swimming with plates and stuff, and, like, just back extensions for what Dre said, the lower back. Yeah. Also, like, recently realized they lose a lot of the glutes. So just, like, bridges with no weight. Like, just have your upper back on a bench and just lift one leg up.
Yeah.
Like, some really struggle. They can't even get the hip straight because just the glute haven't been activated right for that long.
How do they handle that mentally? Like, if you're super fit chick and you're having a baby and you think you're going to come back real quick, and then you just... It's like getting injured almost for a year, and then you come back and you can't do the same things as you could before.
Yeah. Some is very frustrated about it.
Are they?
But most understand and just happy to get back to training again.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I heard a lot of them say just get out of the house and do something else.
Just doing something.
Then not being just home with the baby the whole time is quite releasing, and you feel the endorphins and you feel just happy of getting out from the house.
Yeah.
So I think the main line, they know they have maybe a long way back.
Yeah.
But they're just happy that they could start to progress again.
How does it work? Are some... I don't want to get into postnatal depression, but how does that sort of... Yeah, I know, imagine.
Two guys talking about this topic. This can just go wrong.
This is the worst podcast in the world. But it's because they don't... From what I've experienced... This is from experience.
Oh, God.
but from what I've seen is that's what sort of happens is they're a little bit cabin fever because they've been at home so long.
Yeah.
So, but how does that motivation sort of continue where they know that they've got such a long way to go, and because it must be so emotional, right? The kid's the whole world, and the body's been through a train smash, and now they're out, but they're not in a certain scenario, like what you said, everyone's different, but she could have been super good at working out or at a triathlon or something before, and now just to activate that simple muscle is super hard. How do you coach someone through that?
I think we go back to our first meeting, and then I have to ask, what's your goal with this?
Yeah.
Because some come in and they say, I want to lose my 10 kilo I gain.
Right.
So that's their goal.
So it's quite specific and it's bang. Yeah.
And that's postnatal.
And
no, you can't. You can't lose it.
And then some come in and they're not really that bothered about the body. They just want to get back to do what they've done before.
Right.
For example, I could do triathlons before.
Just want to do that.
Yeah, I just want to be able to get clearance to run again.
So it's not so much I want to lose this weight, or the baby fat, as it's maybe well known.
Yeah.
I want to be functional again.
Exactly, because for example, one of my girls, she wasn't allowed to run for a doctor after pregnancy. Wow. So her goal was to be able to go back to running again, so she can do her full triathlon training.
Yeah.
So that was our goal. The goal wasn't just focusing on getting the body back. It was getting the right muscle activation so she can run again.
So you can actually
something
run.
Simple like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So then when we have that clear what the goal is, then we just put what we do with any other client. Just small goals along the way. Yeah. We could do this now. Look, we could do this when you started, and now you can do this already. Yeah. It's not what you could do before, but
what you could do after the baby. Is on the whole, does it? I know it's very different, but is the progress quite fast? If someone has been fit before, even though you have to be careful at the start, you might have a C-section and stuff. Does it progress quite quickly? Within the first month, would they see noticeable differences if they came to see you 2 or 3 times a week?
Yeah, I will definitely say that.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's it's really tangible.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Already, I would say, someone I've seen, maybe we've done 5-6 sessions, and we can already see a huge difference just by getting the right muscle activation.
Wow.
Just because they haven't done anything, so the body doesn't remember how to use the certain muscles again.
Yeah.
And then we just do a few sessions, and a lot of exercise is super easy to do at home. So I just say, do this when you're home with your baby.
Wow.
The baby can be on the floor next to you, and just do 10 reps of this.
Yeah.
And then they come back really fast.
So let's talk about the frequency of exercising without sort of over-activating. Generally, how often would you see someone? How many sessions would you give, or how many extra bits would you give someone to do back at home?
So if they haven't done a lot, and they have a certain goal they want to come back to, some would just want to get out of the house once a week because they're busy with other stuff.
Right.
And some maybe have a certain goal they want to reach, and I would say come 2 to 3 times a week.
Right, okay.
And then 2 to 3 times they can do something just at home.
Right.
Because it doesn't have to be hard or crazy. It's just about 10 minutes doing your squeezing exercises so you can jump on a box again without peeing yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
See?
Small efforts.
It's just small stuff.
Wow.
Wait, peeing yourself?
Scroll back. Of your face.
I'm hang on a minute. What happened there?
How does that work?
That works?
Why would they pee on the box?
Or is it during the jump? We shouldn't joke. It's very serious, this show.
This is serious. Like, that's a huge goal after you come back from pregnancy. You can do skipping again without peeing yourself.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like, that's one of the biggest things. You can't do any fast jumps, so that's why you can't really run either, because obviously your down area has been quite expanded, so your muscles is not tight enough, so you can't control it as you could before.
You and I look like absolute idiots here.
So that's why.
What is she talking?
That's why the first we do is just breathing and squeezing exercises to activate your muscles again, so you can run and jump without. Yeah.
You see, I put my hand straight up. I am an absolute amateur in this.
Is there any documentaries about this?
Maybe you can YouTube this straight.
Right.
Very interesting.
Let's talk about... That's super interesting. I'm almost blown away. Lucky I have notes here. Now, have you seen... Okay, one of the things that I personally think is a myth is I'm going to have a baby, I'm going to gain 10 to 15 kilos, and then I see... The second baby comes in 2 years' time, and still the weight hasn't gone off. What's your thoughts and maybe your experience about weight gain during pregnancy? Is it just another bullshit excuse, or is it legit, or what's your thoughts on it, mate?
So again, actually what I want to talk about, it also depends on like how much knowledge you have already about training for yourself. Mm-hmm. Because if you talk to someone, if you talk to your parents, maybe not our parents, but grandparents, they will tell you as soon as you get pregnant, you have to sit down. You can't do anything. Yeah, right. It's very dangerous. Yeah. Don't even carry your grocery bags. Like that's what they will tell you, because that's what we believed a long time ago. But obviously that's changed a lot now. So
even most doctors nowadays, I bet that's what they say.
I think some of them err on the side of caution. I mean, the best scenario that I've ever seen is... It was actually super funny. We had a girl in who was training until she gave birth on Christmas Day. She was training until Boxing Day. And on 24th Boxing Day, Phil was actually in the bathroom, and the girls wanted to play a prank on him, so they poured like a bottle of water all on the floor.
No way.
So there was this big pool, and they obviously thought that her waters had broke. But I was also a bit like... What? Why have they thrown water on the floor? And they he was super confused. And,
guys,
obviously stupid. You know what I mean? But she was there. The point is, it was super funny. The point is that she was there until the 24th.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day she told me, she said, "Listen, I'm 10 or 12 weeks pregnant." Generally people try and tell us a little bit early, which I think is something maybe we'll come on to, but I think is super safe. And I said, just feel out how your body is.
Yeah.
But she got stronger through the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous. Like, squatting as well. Like, she's got 80 kilos on her back. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm going to have a baby in my gym.
It's going to come on the floor.
It's going to come on the floor. But yeah, I think there's still a lot around don't do anything.
Yeah. But you just have to know yourself then. And if you're getting pregnant and you haven't done a lot of training, then I will definitely... like go to a personal trainer.
Yeah, right.
Like to get some help. If you have not the knowledge yourself, go to someone that has the knowledge and can help you, because it definitely help you train during your pregnancy.
Yeah.
It's gonna make the birth itself easier, and definitely the recover and the whole pregnancy as well, because then we come back to the weight gain.
Yes. Yeah.
If you don't do anything, it's very easy to gain weight. Like when you get pregnant as well, your hormones play with you, and
that's what I was gonna ask you.
It's very common to get special cravings.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, you crave for an apple or a pear or something. But like one of my friends, she just got craving for Pringles, and she gained 30 kilos. She was just on her couch shouting for her boyfriend to give her Pringles for 9 months.
Pringles, 30 kilos of Pringles.
That's a lot, huh?
Like, it's insane.
Really?
And like, obviously, I guess the cravings is a bit mentally as well as your hormones, but we know the hormones are going to play a trick with you when you get pregnant. So I think it's important that you do the best you can to stop it.
So if your husband or boyfriend out there with a pregnant wife,
don't give them Pringles.
Don't let them touch the Pringles.
But I think this is a really good point, is that sometimes the doctors are telling us just chill. If you have an overly compassionate husband or boyfriend or partner, and he's scared because of what the doctor said, then he's going to bring you the Pringles.
Yeah.
And it's not so hard, like eating Pringles on the couch for 9 months. like 30 kilos is pretty easy, I would guess.
Yeah. So I guess like just what we want to say, like really try to do training. I'm not saying they have to come to the classes and do Thursday therapy, but it can be such a easy things as
Hell Week.
as walking or biking or just home exercises. But
so is that what, like, I mean, obviously, again, it's super different, but the general application, just keep some form of movement.
Yeah.
And then would you start, like, a lot of the stuff that you do postnatal with muscular contractions, would you suggest people start that further out?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely something they should start, like, straight away. Even if someone tells me they want to get pregnant soon in the future, I start doing these kind of exercises with them just to prepare them.
Wow.
Because if we know they want to get pregnant, if you're planning to get pregnant within the next 6 months, and we can already prepare your body to get a stronger back and keep you upright, you're going to have less issues when you get a big belly in front, huh?
Pre-pregnant classes.
Trevor and Rahel, I've seen them doing all of these movements. Lucky they don't listen to the show.
None of the boyfriend and husband knows about this class.
They could come to it as well. But I actually think that's something super, like, I think nowadays there's too much of an acceptance of, okay, I'm getting pregnant, I'm probably going to gain 10 to 15. I'm probably harsh because I'm a male and I just don't think there's any excuse for people gaining weight. But there is a little bit too much people are maybe wrapped in cotton wool, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, because we can look at the fact how much the baby weight, and then it's some water and it's some all of the other stuff that goes around the baby.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like, let's say 5 to 9 kilos.
Right.
But the rest doesn't have to.
The rest doesn't have to be there.
No.
Yeah, that's something, I mean, I think there's as much prenatal should be happening and related to diets. I don't know how. I mean, I crave things, right?
Yeah.
Everyone craves things.
We crave things, right? So I don't know why. We just give it, I guess, the hormones when we're pregnant.
I think you're more emotional, more
emotional.
Like, just...
It's just a lot going on.
Yeah,
you're going to have a baby. You're gonna,
your life is
so
a bit
much
complicated.
Changing.
You're carrying this big thing, or...
Yeah.
It's just a lot going on, so I guess it's a bit easier to give in for the cravings as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not blaming them.
Should post or prenatal women eat anything specific? Like, should their diet change, or like, do you think there's any like recommendations on that stuff?
Like, I don't want to say you're gonna eat something special. I just think it's important to, like, especially after the pregnancy, that you don't, because I see a lot of mom gets like they don't give themselves time.
Yeah.
Because they have the baby, and then the baby goes a little bit older, so you start making the baby food, and then you just eat whatever you make the baby.
Right.
And that is not going to be good nutrition for a grown-up, huh?
Yeah.
So
Pringles and baby food.
This is getting better.
So that's what we see a lot. They just don't take time to make their own food because they want to make the good food for the baby, and then they are eating the baby's snacks or whatever, which is not made for a grown-up. So, like, I would suggest, like, just make sure you have good nutrition still and take time for yourself, and maybe prepare some food in the evening when your husband is home and you have some time, so you're not stuck the next day and feel like, oh shit, now I don't have time to make myself food.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna snack on this fish cake or whatever I'm giving my kid.
Or rusk. You get rusks?
Rusks?
Yeah.
No?
You get rusks?
No.
They must have sold them at IKEA. They're just like these biscuits, super sugary.
We've been a little...
takes about half a day for a kid to eat one.
Rusks?
They have to... Yeah, it's like a little bit hard, and they chew it till it's soft.
What do you give to dogs?
Yeah, a little bit like that. Like,
that's practical.
Yeah, very practical.
So you want to give that to
about
post the prenatal women?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's my question. Where are we going to go?
Yeah, we've kind of been into the training part, nutrition part. Now, another big third pillar is the sleep.
Yeah.
Like, how important is the sleep? I know that must be super challenging.
Yeah. And obviously the most challenging part should be in the beginning, because the baby is newborn and you're not used to it as well. You don't really know the baby, and the baby doesn't know you. Like, it's a lot going on, and it wakes up a million times, and you probably sleep with it in your bed as well.
Yeah.
Which leads to the next part, because that part we can't really control, because in the beginning the baby's going to be next to you,
right?
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to sleep because you're going to be scared to roll over on the baby, or is the baby breathing, or like it's a lot of things that are going on. Like people stay awake the whole night because you're just scared the baby stop breathing. Like, because if it's your first baby, you just don't know these things. But the most important, I think, is a few months later that you try to make the baby sleep in its own bed. That's the biggest issue, because especially again if it's your first baby, because before you know this, you think, because the baby's going to cry when you put it in its own bed or in its own room. It's going to cry and cry and cry, and you feel like a horrible person, so you take it up. And then that's going to continue forever. And
because babies are smart.
The older it gets, the more it's going to disturb you when you're sleeping as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And the harder it's going to get him to sleep by himself.
Yeah.
So, but when mom's done that, some does it faster and some does it later. But the only thing they're all saying is, I wish I've done it earlier. Yeah. Because that's the biggest change. Like, finally they can sleep alone in the bed. They can get like a good night's sleep, even though they have to wake up one time or twice to feed the baby. Like, for the rest of the hours, they can actually sleep.
They can sleep. But one thing as well is the type of... So let's go to postnatal again. The type of... Because that's what I hear, that I don't sleep very well, so I don't have energy. But... related to sleep, the exercises that you're getting them to do, as you said, it's not like they're sprinting, it's not like they're, they just need to come and see you like a couple of times a week to know what exercise to do to activate it. It's going to make them feel better. So I don't want to say it can be done on not much sleep, but it can be done without much sleep. It doesn't
it's not going to be crazy intensity or anything.
So that's something super cool.
That's the cool thing about personal training. It's like,
well, that's true.
Like you kind of can run the pace by yourself. You're not like obliged to keep the pace of 15 other people.
True.
Like if you show up completely wrecked, and your coach will obviously turn down the pace a little bit. So if you're even like more afraid of that, you should definitely do one-on-one.
Talking about that transition from a personal training environment to, like, we have quite a few girls who used to do classes with us, and they come back and do personal training. What's your sort of approximate timeline? Like, do they need 2 months with you? Do they need 3 months with you? And then you sort of try... I know, again, it's probably different how complicated the birth was, but obviously the goal for those girls is to get them back in the class. So what sort of timelines have you seen work well?
I guess it goes back again to what the original goal was. Is the goal to just get, if they used to do classes, and the goal is just to get back to classes, like that can be done in 10 sessions.
Wow.
Because then we just focus on, like, okay, I want to be able to go running again. Okay, what do we need to do so you can run again? Okay, we need to strengthen your core, your glutes, your hamstrings need to be activated, because otherwise you will get knee issues, or you will run weird, like you will hurt your back. So we're gonna focus on that, and then do a little bit of everything else. Just reach your goal. And if it's the same as my goal is to go back to class, we just look at the big things then, what you need to be able to do. Okay, you should probably be able to squat, hollow hold by yourself without like hurting yourself. Can you hang without stretching if you have a scar or anything? Stuff like that.
And I guess within 10 sessions, they've probably built up that confidence to say, okay, I know I used to squat 80 kilos, but I'll put the bar plus like 10 kilos each side, and then I'm good to go again.
And then, like, if they going back to class, we finish in their sessions, I always just talk to them about the exercises we've done and how we scale the exercises, so they know when they come to class and it says pull-ups, and I said, do you remember how we scaled that? We did this. So just tell the coach, so they feel like comfortable doing that as well.
That's very I think that's the best way, and I think I've seen the most success when girls do come in and have a block of those sessions, and then the progress they make in that block is fast, but then when they get back in the class, the progress they make is super fast, because they've sort of somehow, because you've given them the scale, and I guess you've given them the belief as well that it's going to be okay, and when it's not, you haven't put them in the class, and then they're able to do stuff like they could do it before. I mean, one of the great examples was Laura. A few weeks before she's due to give birth, she's still doing like butterfly pull-ups, and then like I did feel that she was maybe a little bit more hesitant when she came back, But then 10 sessions and she's
smashing class again.
Yeah, she's smashing the class again. And, you know, she was actually something like freakish, though, because I never heard her complain about
anything.
No.
She literally, she sent me a message. She said, I'm pregnant. I need such and such amount of time, and then I'll be back. And as soon as she came back, she was fine. Then she went through all the pregnancy, had the baby, and then she did some sessions, and she's all good.
Yeah, she's been amazing. And what she did as well, like, if you're used to classes, you can come in for one personal training and then do some classes in between. Because that's what we did with Laura. She came in once a week for a personal training, and then she did some classes as well because she was used to classes already.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just did a personal training for like the small extra things we can work on. Yeah. Like a bit more quality at personal training.
I think another thing like that helps people who are worried out there, like postnatal or prenatal, is to see other chicks like smashing, like us sharing that story about Laura right now. Yeah. Hopefully a lot of people that are worried about, you know, like if they can train or whatever they should train, like by seeing or being with other people who are in the same boat, like that's a big thing, like that whole environment thing.
And the whole sort of it is very, like you've said all along, Mia, it's very sort of individual. Yeah. But I also think at the end of the day, like, it's also quite normal and it's quite global as well, in that, you know, chicks get pregnant, we have children, you know, we only make it individual because we sort of pampered to all these different, like, oh no, not like that, oh no, not like this. Whereas the chicks that are generally the most relaxed and just get on with it, like Ramona's pregnant at the moment. Hope she doesn't mind me telling everyone that. You can see it on her Instagram. And she's like, yeah, everything's cool. I feel good. Any cravings? No, I feel great. You know, and the ones that do have cravings, well, they can choose to give in to them, or they can choose just to rock and roll.
Yeah, it's like some things may happen to you or may not happen. I don't know the English word, but like when your hips grow and you get like, what's the English word?
I'm not really sure. All
right. Like, that can happen super early or quite late in the stage. And if that starts to happen super early in your pregnancy, you're under a lot of pain. Right. So 30 things will happen or will not happen. Right. Which we can't control. Right. But, like, cravings, we can choose to control it or not.
This is what I'm saying. It's like, and I think that's where we got to with the food. Like, the split in your abs, you can't control. But the Pringles into your mouth, like...
You should control.
You probably should control. Yeah. What else have we not spoken about that's interesting when we speak about sort of postnatal fitness? What do we speak about? Weight gain? Is there a pattern? What we didn't speak. Careful. What should you be really careful of? If we could wrap that one up, twisting. We said
crunches.
Yeah. So first of all, like twisting movements, crunching movements, jumping, running.
Right. Pringles.
So anything basically that would be like hard movements on your hip or your pelvic.
Right. Right.
So that's why I don't want to. We can't run at the beginning because it's quite hard on outside or whatever.
Right,
like your steps will be quite heavy. Right. Same if you jump. If you're not prepared for that, you can hurt yourself quite bad. Yeah. So that's like running and jumping is more for your pelvic, and then like twisting and proper crunches is obviously for your abs if they separated.
But everything else is pretty much.
And then of course no heavy weights. Like I would never let anyone squat heavy or snatch or lift anything heavy.
Yeah. But of course, as with general movement, to do like an air squat or multiple air squats actually works quite well.
Yeah, of course.
So what are the top 3 exercises that you can do postnatal?
Yeah, what are your go-to?
Like
what does everyone get? What's the secrets?
The top 3?
That one?
Yeah.
The balance?
Yeah.
Balance?
I would definitely do balance drills just to get your body to remember what muscles to use when. Yeah? And then, like, obviously the squeeze and pelvic.
Yeah. It's like a hollow kind of. So tucked hollow
basically you just lie down on the floor on your back, you take a big breath, and then when you breathe out, you do it quite hard, like almost you get a punch in your belly. Yeah. And at the end of that, then you squeeze.
So if you're personal trainer out there, don't punch them in the belly. Just they have to imagine they're getting punched in the belly.
So you probably don't know because you can't squeeze, but girls will understand what to do. You just lie on the floor, you take a big breath, you breathe out. The last bit is quite like hard to breathe out, like you get a punch. In the end of that, you squeeze and you hold for 5 seconds.
Right.
And then just relax a bit and then you repeat.
So a little bit of breathing drills is
really... it's just like a lot of breathing drills.
Yeah.
Okay. Third exercise?
And then like I do a lot of the gymnastic swim with them, just to strengthen the upper back and also your lower back. I make them just go into an arch position.
Yeah.
With the feet up and just hands in front. We can do different like swimming or whatever, or just holding, just to strengthen the backside as well for carrying the baby, or if it's after to carry it as well, and breastfeeding and everything that comes with it.
I reckon they're almost global, except the one that we can't do, mate. I reckon those other two is something that we definitely should be doing all the time.
Why can't we squeeze?
Mate, it's different.
What?
We're going to see Dre trying.
You guys can't squeeze.
Definitely watch the video. Squeeze. Definitely watch the video version. And food, we pretty much wrapped up quite nicely. Yeah. We should definitely stay away from the Pringles. But I think what you said, Mia, is super straightforward. It's like you have to be on your program, and I know that takes a little bit of extra effort, especially if you're working, and it's easier sometimes just to go in with what the kid's having. But I think when you talk about getting the baby weight off, well, you shouldn't be feeding the kids bad things anyway, but I think that's really the way to sort of manage it.
Maybe it comes down to, like, I've heard this before, where, like, for example, when parents get kids with disabilities or stuff like that, they'll like, the psychologist or the person who guides them will explain that, imagine you have this circle, and in your life you have like blocks of work or your free time or your family or whatever, and now you have a kid, it can only take that much of your circle, and if you let it take more, for example, if you stop prioritizing making food for yourself and only for the baby, and the baby starts feeling too much and you have to down prioritize all the other things, then eventually your life won't be working anymore, and if your life's not working, your kid's life won't work.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just really prioritizing yourself and not forgetting like how important your training and your food.
I would imagine you've heard that before, like ladies that are a little bit reluctant to come back because of time or financial commitments, and then when they come back, and you said it like they get out of the house and it's quite empowering or liberating or any one of those words that you want to use, that they're actually back into it and they're using a bit of the time for themselves. And I think as well, like, you know, everyone sees themselves naked once or twice a day when they have a shower, and I think when you start to see that your body actually is working again after it's been through, like, childbirth is just something horrific. the thought of it, and
the peeing,
jumping on a box midair and all this stuff. I mean, you know, I saw Sam pee herself during a real heavy squat clean, but that was like different. You know?
It's different, but the same.
Yeah, kind of the same. That's probably enough then.
Yeah.
Postnatal. Speak to Mia.
Get in touch.
Come and see her, and clearly knows a lot more than Trey. What's that thing? 3 men and a baby. No, let's not think about it.
It's so
like
good
that.
if you two run this podcast by yourself.
Isn't it? Like,
I think next time we should just discuss it by ourselves.
This is why we get specialists on the show, because but in this I have no idea. I'm absolutely useless, and that's why I've never trained anyone.
Now I'm just imagining postnatal chicks just jumping around, peeing and eating Pringles.
Oh, you're horrible, Dre.
That's the image you gave me.
You're horrible.
It's your fault.
Awesome. Mia, thank you very much. Thanks for the good work
for
the ladies, and thanks ladies for entrusting her with your bodies. It's especially after you've had a baby, it's something for real.
Respect.
So, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for tuning in to this episode of the podcast, folks. I do hope you have enjoyed it. And a massive shout out to Mia. She clearly knows a lot about pre and postnatal, and definitely don't hire Dre or I. You can hire us for a number of different things, but don't hire us if you're about to have a baby or you've just given birth. Please, folks, hop over to iTunes, rate and review the podcast. We will not send you Pringles. We'll send you some Smith Street Paleo goodies. We'll be absolutely thrilled to do that. And if you do have questions, comments, or want to get in touch with Mia about pre and postnatal, winning at InnerFight.com is where to find us. She'll be happy to take care of you. Until next time, take care.